28th of October, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, Chaye Sarah.
Okay.
Oh, Rabbi.
Yeah, good. Okay. Let's go.
I have a lot of drilling noise in my house. They're building right next door to me, so I may not be able to read.
But I hope your headphones help you.
The headphones help me to hear. They don't help you. Can you hear the noise?
No, I can't right now, not.
Okay, so then we'll try it.
Okay. And we are up to Pasuk Ches, I believe. Anyway, we were discussing, Pasuk Ches, that's where we're up to. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I got it. So that ha'isha laleches acharecha the nikisa ish vu'asi zos ach es bini lo sa shave shama. If the woman does not want to come back with you,
does not want to follow after you.
Follow after you, then you are absolved from this oath. But do not bring my son.
However, means only this. Espeni lo yisashev shama. Do not bring back my son to there.
That's right. I had asked you the question. Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre are Canaanites, and Rashi says that that they say tells Eliezer, if you can't find a wife over there, then you could then we'll marry him to one of their daughters. But they're cursed. Why does he tell Eliezer,
this is the major
I'm blessed,
question.
and he doesn't? And now he says, well, you can marry those. They're Canaanites. They're also cursed.
Also, I was going to point out that the slap in the face to Eliezer is even greater, because okay, if Eliezer's asking, I should marry, let Yitzchak marry my daughter. So Avraham Avinu says, I'm sorry, you're for Canaanite, and Canaanites cannot, I cannot marry my son to a Canaanite. The Canaanites are cursed, and I'm blessed, and therefore that doesn't go. So why then he says to him, well, if there's nobody, if she doesn't want to go, then he said, Avraham Avinu says to Eliezer, the woman doesn't want to follow after you, then you'll be absolved of this oath of mine. And then you know who he should marry? Daughters of Enan, Eshkol, and Mamre. Why not the daughter of Eliezer? Right?
That's right. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I don't have a proper teretz to that.
Eliezer is supposedly his top student, the head of his yeshiva, the zaken of his house, and the one who is in charge of all of his possessions.
Right. Actually, I read an article this morning, and I get every day part of the Dirshu program. Anyway, I get a newsletter every day. They have a story there that the head of one of the big schools, actually it was more big schools, it's Chinuch Hatzmai. Chinuch Hatzmai is like the independent, it's a group of independent schools which are Haredi, but whatever, most of the girls' schools, the Beis Yaakov schools, are under that umbrella called Chinuch Hatzmai. Anyway, so Steinman, asked the person who's in charge, we call it the Menahel of this Chinuch Hatzmai, says, tell me, if Rivka had come to you and said she wanted to be accepted in a Beis Yaakov school, would you have accepted her? Now look at her, her Besuel, her father was Besuel, he wanted to poison Eliezer, he was like how they call him, Lovon was a guy he's probably known for his rough and ready swindling tactics. Yeah. Accept a girl from that house, such a household? Oh, no way. Never accepted in our top school. Yet, Yitzchak, Avraham Avinu, obviously, Eliezer, who knew what Avraham Avinu wanted, he said, yeah, this is the girl, this is the one. They have to see that the point is that we find an interesting point among the Ovos and Morris as well over here, that they were self-made people. Right? They were people who Avraham Avinu Mustama was the classic example of a self-made man. Yet his education was not in any way conducive to connecting to Hashem, to recognizing that Hashem is the one God on his own. But as the Gemara says, he was called Avram Ivri. What does Ivri mean? He was on one side whilst everybody was on the other side. He went against the stream. Avraham Avinu was how should we say it?
A rebel.
They call it what? Not a
rebel.
rebel is the right word. Not the rebel. The rebel is not the right word. But he was a non-conformist. Right. He was a non-conformist. He had an idea. He believed it was true. He was none of that. He was convinced it was true, and he was willing to go all out for the sake of preaching this doctrine which he had discovered on his own, and going totally against the tide of the whole world. What everybody believed until then, everybody believed in idolatry and different idols. And he said, no, there's one God, and this one God detests idolatry, and he goes totally against the stream. Now, in a way, Rivka also mirrored that kind of, actually not an approach is the right word, mirrored that kind of character. She grew up in a home which was totally alien to doing chesed, and she managed against all odds to be not just a girl doing chesed, but a super chesed. And this is exactly, but anyway, I want to go back to the point. Your question about Oni Ashkelon Mamre and not Eliezer, I don't know. The only point is it could be, and this I have to be do a bit more academic research, is that were Oni Ashkelon Mamre actually Canaanites or not?
Well, it says, oh no, it says that you have to look in Kedushin 61A.
Who
Uh,
says?
the footnote in my book says there's a discussion in Kedushin 61A about
Okay.
these guys. I guess I'll have to look it up and see if it says anything about there being Canaanites. I'll try and
I
find
can
some time to look that up.
try 1 second. If you hold on a minute, 61A. Kiddushin 61A. Let's see what we can find over here. Just anyway, going back to the actual idea, I had a major question on this whole, on Eliezer's, should we say Eliezer's behavior. What do we see? Are we going to see later that on the one hand, Avraham Avinu tells Eliezer very clear instructions. He says to him, don't take from the Bnei Saknani, but rather go to my land, to my birthplace, and you should take a woman for my son, for Yitzchak. Okay? Now he tells him straight out. So what should we see later when Eliezer comes along in this whole story with the well? Okay, we should have what Eliezer should have done. He should have gone to Choron and asked the first person, "Excuse me, where does Mr. Besuel live? Where does Mr. Well, Lavan, he wasn't really interested, but where's Mr. Besuel live?" So he says, "Oh yeah, he lives over there." Gone to Mr. Besuel's house, knocked on his door, and says, "Here, I am the servant of Eliezer. I'm sorry, I am the servant of Avraham Avinu, your cousin. I want to know, do you have a suitable daughter of marriageable age? Because I need to find a good wife. I need to find a wife for my master's son." Okay.
That's
Now,
the way
what's
we
he
do
doing?
it today.
Pretty much, okay, but I mean not quite necessarily, but we do it maybe a little bit slightly different, but on the whole, it's done that way, right?
No, don't
So
we?
why?
Doesn't the
What
shadchan look
problem?
for the yichus? Isn't that the main criteria?
Exactly, you're looking for yichus, right? But as we're going to see in a second, it was more than the Chazal say that the water came up to Rivka. When she went down to the thing, he saw the water come up miraculously. So why shouldn't that been that should have been the clincher? Why is it this girl, miracles happen for her? She should have asked her, "Well, who are you?" And she says, "Well, I'm a daughter of, I'm from Besuel, whatever." "Oh, wow, hit the jackpot the first time. Okay, you're the
Right,
one."
right.
Why this? So the point is, this is I heard from my Chavrusa told me this morning actually, B'Shem Choshev Rav in London called Rabbi Ordman Zechon Bracha. He says the point of Eliezer doing this test was not to see miracles or an omen to see whether this is the right girl. He wanted to see if she is a balas chesed. He wants to see, is she somebody who does chesed? Not just chesed, but chesed in a big way. Because if you imagine, if you want to know how much water 10 camels drink, it's about like something like one of these water tankers, these 18-wheeler water tankers, right? Not sure
Right.
exactly something like that, but 10 camels drink a lot of water. So basically, Eliezer says, do you mind if I have a glass? Can I mind if I have a glass of water? She says, sure, no problem. I'll give you a glass of water. And not only that, I'll fill up your water tanker as well. That's basically what he was saying. She was saying to him, a little 3-year-old girl.
Right.
So the point is, obviously, and this is what Eliezer was asking for. He said, I want to know if the first girl I go over to and I say, can I have a little bit to drink? And she says, no, no problem. Not only that, I'll give all your camels to drink. He was expecting chesed big time. He wanted to see if this girl who is going to be destined to be part of Yitzchak's wife, Avram's daughter-in-law, she's got to be able to do chesed big time. Not just, yeah, here, sir, no problem, I'll give you a cup of water. Here, you guys with you, I'll give them cups of water as well. No, that's not enough. It's got to be able to fill up all the camels. So where did Eliezer get that from to make such a presumption? So this is what I want to say, is that for what reason was Canaan cursed? Why was Canaan cursed? So Chazal say that Ham, his father, the pasuk says that he gilo es ervas ovid, which means he revealed the nakedness of his father. Now, normally it could mean Parsha that he did it, he uncovered him, because it says he was, because he got drunk, he was like sprawled in his tent. Okay, that could be Pshuta, but Chazal understand that generally this is a euphemism for a certain level of immorality. Gilas Ervas Ovid means he was immoral with him. So Chazal say one of two things: either he had homosexual relations with his father, or he castrated him. Either way, he did something to him that prevented him from having any more children.
Why would homosexual relations prevent him from having children?
I don't know exactly, I'm not sure. But anyway, that is certainly on the fact that he castrated him, he prevented him having any more children. And this is what Rashi says in Parshas Noach. That's why Noach cursed Canaan, because you, Chom, prevented me from having a fourth child by castrating me, and yes, therefore your fourth child will be cursed. So why was Canaan cursed? It resulted of an act of cruelty on the part of his father. Whereas Chom committed a cruel act to Noach, and therefore he was punished that his fourth son was cursed. Said Avram to Eliezer, you are a gewaldige guy. You're the person I rely on for everything. Right? You're in charge of my household. But one thing is, you've got cruelty in your genes. You stem from Chom, who has an element of cruelty in his genes. Has a bad character of cruelty. And my son, my son is Baruch. Baruch is whoever does chesed is called Baruch, and therefore it just won't go. Even though this daughter of Eliezer had the best education which was possible to have in those times. She was living. Eliezer was constantly together with Avraham Avinu. Probably his daughter had been educated in the house of Avraham Avinu. Nevertheless, said Avraham Avinu, chesed is the ultimate character trait which I'm looking for, and therefore, Eliezer, I'm very sorry, but you're out, because you stem from Cham, who has a cruel streak in it, and therefore that cruel streak continues. It's in your genes, Eliezer, and therefore. Derech Agav, there's a medrash which says that Eliezer later became Oik. Or Lavan, or whatever. No, not Lavan. Sorry, Bilam.
Eliezer became Bilam?
Yeah. There's such a medrash to the effect. Anyway, I'll go upon him.
This idea that you have, that he had cruelty in his genes, is totally bizarre.
Why?
It's a denial of the whole idea of free will.
It's not,
Everything is in
because
the hands of heaven except the fear of heaven.
right,
Cruelty is a matter of being good or bad. It's not a matter of fate.
that is true, but not to the extent. I'll give an example. This is exactly the point. Somebody who's been brought, I'm just going to think, let's say, I'll give an example. Somebody's been brought up in a house where they never do chesed. And now this boy in this house is offered, a poor person comes over to him and he says, do you mind helping me out? And he really feels he should help him out. So he takes out a dime and he gives it to him. Now, that's a tremendous, as far as that boy is concerned, he's been, in other words, he's overcoming all the bad education he's been given to say, no chesed, no tzedakah, don't give anybody. And he feels his heart goes out to this guy and he gives him a dime. Okay, so he has done tremendous. He's done a tremendous mitzvah. But nevertheless, in measuring the level of tzedakah which he's done, what's he giving? He's giving the guy a dime. That's not very much. In other words, Avraham Avinu wanted somebody to be a wife of Yitzchak, somebody who has chesed ingrained in him. It's not necessarily disqualifying Eliezer as a person. It's really disqualifying that his daughter was not suitable for Yitzchak. Understand?
It doesn't make any sense to me,
Okay,
what you're saying.
fine. Okay, we'll see. Whatever.
The example you gave of the boy that was in the house that they never did the chesed, that has nothing to do with his genes. That has to do with his environment, his culture.
Okay.
You want to say Eliezer had a culture of cruelty? I would say fine, but he rose above it. He became the top guy in Avraham Avinu's house. Obviously,
right.
he rose above it.
I hear your question. I don't have an answer for it right now, but okay.
All right. Well, I'll
Anyway,
look up Kedushin and see if we can find out about honor.
yes, I'm in the middle of looking at it. 1 second. Hold on a second. I was looking at it. 61A. What did we say, 61A?
Yes.
No.
Kedushin.
No, it's nothing over here. No, nothing to do with that over here. 61A or B?
A.
No. Kedushin?
Kedushin 61A. Yes.
There's nothing about it over here. What does he say is written there?
It doesn't say. It just says there's a footnote next to the name Mamre, and the footnote says Kedushin 61A. It doesn't say what is there.
Well, so there's some inaccuracy here because there's nothing about it in 61A.
Oh well, that's too bad.
Oh, it's 61B. Yes, it's here. The Gemara lines out Gabe Tanai. regarding making a condition. Do you always, the machlokes, famous machlokes, whether you need t'nai kofel, do you need a double condition, meaning he's saying, if I do this, then you'll get this. And if I don't do this, then you won't get it. Okay, do I have to make this double t'nai?
Right, like Moshe Rabbeinu does when he's talking to the Ruvain
The God of
God.
Reuben, exactly. Okay, that's the classic case. Right, then the Gemara says, okay, Bishmel me hainu yosef oz tinoke meolosi. Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel lomali. He says, if you go to my father's house and you find a girl, then you'll bring her a wife. But if not, then you're going to be absolved of my oath. Right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not that case. Yeah. Yeah, but it's nothing to do with it. Yeah. He's saying that why did they have to say if you don't, if the woman doesn't want to come, then you'll be absolved of my oath. It's pretty obvious if he says, the oath is that you've got to go and find a wife. And obviously if she doesn't want to come, then you're going to be absolved. Why did the Torah have to say that explicitly? Elamai Tzarah, you've got to have a double condition. Right? You say, if you go, then fine. If you don't go, don't go, but if it doesn't want, then you'll be absolved. So the Gemara says, no, it covers a case even where she wants to go and they don't want to let her go, or they want to let her go and she doesn't want to go. So that's why the Torah had to speak it out. Okay, but that's nothing to do with Onei and Eshkol or Mamre.
Not too bad. Yeah.
Okay, I have to look into that. Okay, fine. Let's continue.
All right. So let's see. We are on. I think we're on 9 now, right?
Pasuk Tes. Okay.
Okay. Vayasem ha'eved es.
Okay, we looked at Rashi. We didn't finish the last Rashi. Rak Espeni.
Rak es v'gomer. Only my son. Rak miut beni eno choser aval Yaakov ben beni sofo lachazor. So it says the word rock is an exception. My son, do not return there, but Yaakov, the son of my son, in the end will return.
He will in the end go back there.
Right.
Where? Because when Yaakov Avinu went to look for a wife, he also went to Haran.
Right. Meaning eventually he will go there. So that it's interesting. If Yaakov's going to go there, why? If Abraham knows Yaakov's going to go there, so why is he saying Yitzhak can't go there? If it's okay for Yaakov.
So that's what we find that Yitzchak was, since he had gone through the Akedah, okay, he had a special status. He was like mamish, like a carbon, very high level of holiness, and therefore Avraham Avinu didn't want him to leave Eretz Yisrael at all. In fact, he says Yitzchak never left. He never left Eretz Yisrael.
Okay, so he's not really saying don't go back there. He's saying don't leave Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
All
see
right.
Pasuk 10.
10. Vayikach ha'eved.
So there's one Pasuk before that without Rashi. Vayosim ha'eved es yodoi.
Oh, vayasam ha'eved es yado tachas yerech Avraham Adonav vayi shava lo al ha-devar hazeh. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and he swore to him concerning this matter.
Right. He took an oath, talk about by taking hold of the Mila of Avraham Avinu, and he swore to him, he made an oath to Avraham that he's going to carry out this mission.
Vayikach
Okay?
ha'eved asara gemalim migemalei adonav vayelech v'chol tuv adonav biyado vayakam vayelech el aram na'arayim el ir nachor. Okay, so the servant took 10 camels from the camels of his master, and he went with all the best of his master in his hand.
Right.
And he rose up and he went.
He got up. Right. Vayokam means he set out, I guess the best way of saying in English. Right?
Okay.
He arose.
He set out and he went to Aram Naharaim, to the city of Nahor.
Right.
Okay, the Rashi says, Migamale Adonav, camels of his master. Nikarin Hayu Mishar Gimalim. You could distinguish these from other camels. Shehayu Yotzin Zemumin, that they were muzzled.
And they went out, they were muzzled when they went out. Mipnei HaGezel.
Mipnei HaGezel, out of concern for robbery. Shelo Yir'u Dos Acherim, that they would not graze in the fields of others.
Remember, we had before, that was the dispute between the shepherds of Abraham and the shepherds of Lot, which reached the head and they separated.
Right.
Because, okay?
The Chol Tuv Adonav Biyado.
By the way, it's interesting. It seems that Abraham was the only first one to introduce this concept of muzzling the camels. It seems nobody else practiced it.
Why do you say that?
Because it says, Migmalei Adonav, Nikorim Hoyu Mishar Gemalim. You could distinguish between the camels of Abraham and everybody else's camels.
Oh, right. Good point. Yeah, so he was the only one doing this.
Right.
V'chol tuv Adonav biyado, and all the best of his master was in his hand. Shtar matana kasav liyitzchak. There was a document of a gift that was written to Yitzchak. Al kol asher lo, everything that was his.
Meaning that everything Abraham had, he wrote over, he signed over to Yitzchak.
Right. Kedei sheyik ketsu lish loach lo become, in order that they would be eager to send to him their daughter.
Right.
Aram Naharayim.
By the way, you know, Avram was extremely rich at this time.
Yeah, I'm wondering why aren't they worried that she just wants him for his money?
Well, that's why L'choira, he had a test. So he wanted to know that the girl was not coming for the money, but she was want to make sure she's a balas midas. I mean, we see how many 3-year-old girls, you know, are willing to leave their father's house. Mother's house, her mother was alive. Yes. Yeah, mother was alive. It says afterwards, Leah, Rachel and Leah, their mother wasn't alive. But Rivka had a mother, and she was willing to leave her parents' house at the age of 3 in order to, she was only too glad to get the opportunity to leave such a house, to be able to move into a house where of chesed, of benevolence and kindness. But she wasn't really looking for the money. They obviously were.
Aram Naharayim. Bain Shtei Naharos Yoshavis.
Yeshebes.
Oh, I have a kamatz underneath the shin.
Well, I couldn't because it's the end of it's the last word in the phrase. Okay? It was dwelling, right? It was situated between 2 rivers. So therefore,
Right.
that was Naharayim. Naharayim
Right.
means 2 rivers. Okay?
Right.
I think we'll stop here. We got up to everything. Okay. Wish everybody a very good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. Fine. Be well. Koltiv.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.